Black female says calling yourself black is problematic.
Okay, so I got to share something that's on my heart. And this is really just for my black people, for my FBAs. So if you're not black, honestly, this video really isn't for you. I mean, you can just keep scrolling unless you just want to stay and be nosy. But this is really, truly just for my black people. And I'm using that term black very loosely because the whole point of this conversation is surrounding the word black when it comes to referencing a racial group or a group of people. So I feel like the reason why this was on my heart and the reason why it was really on my mind is because TikTok has really opened up, I feel like, a lot of doors and a lot of conversations that I think otherwise we would have never had. And it kind of opens us up to a lot of different cultures and ethnicities, not just here in America, but all around the world. And it really got me to thinking about the word black and the reasons behind why we would call ourselves black as opposed to actually having a specific title or term that really encompasses the full scale of who we are as people, as opposed to just calling ourselves by a color. I honestly feel like, and you can take this however you want it, you could think, or, this may be controversial, I don't know. But I really feel like the reason why a lot of our people have esteem issues surrounding our ethnicity, surrounding our race, the reason why there's a lack of racial pride within our group, because there is, believe it or not, or if you don't want to admit it or not, it is because we call ourselves black. And that might sound silly to you. That might sound stupid. Like, oh my, that's what I am. I'm black. I'm just black. That's just what I am. But I want you to let's really pick this apart for a second. If we're calling ourselves and we're identifying ourselves as a color, that does not describe the full scale and the full scope of who we are as Americans who are descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, who also have ancestry with other ethnicities and other races. So calling ourselves by a color, to me, is very outdated and it's very much problematic because there's a lot of negative connotations that are associated with the word black, which is, I think, is the whole reason why we had gotten that title in the first place, was to cause psychological problems. The purpose of calling us black was to make us feel like small and dark and low. I really truly believe that, because if you really think about all the negative connotations that are associated with the word black, it's always something negative associated with the specific color black, like a black heart, a black soul, or a dark soul. And I feel like subconsciously, as a race of human beings, when you call yourself by a color, it has an effect on your psyche and how you view yourself, even if you don't realize it. And I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people in the diaspora are very resistant to this word black. Like, people try to call Dominicans black or Puerto Ricans black. And why would they want to call themselves by a color when it's so much more pride in calling yourself by your nationality of being Dominican or Puerto Rican or wherever? But I feel like as Americans, we have married ourselves to this word black, that it's like we almost don't even feel like we have an identity without the word black. Like, it's so ingrained in us. And we feel like if we say, oh, well, maybe we should call ourselves something else, we feel like that's like we're trying to abandon our ethnicity, or we're trying to say, oh, well, we're not of West African descent. We're not a race of melanated people. If somehow you can just disconnect your identity with that specific word, how would you feel? Would you feel like you don't have an identity? Would you feel like an identity crisis? Would you question, okay, well then what am I? And even with the term African American, it's still, I mean, yeah, we could say that, but when was the last time we had an ancestor from Africa? Like, we are a result of ethnogenesis. So if you don't know what that means, or what, you can look it up, just Google it. We are literally a result of ethnogenesis, which means that we are literally a new unique ethnic group, or we're a new racial group, and we don't have to call ourselves by a color because we're many different colors. So that don't even make sense to even call ourselves black anyway. And to call ourselves African American it's just not specific enough to just us as a group. So I feel like we need to adopt a new term. I know we've been hearing the word Solan and Solani going around. If we want to use that, then that's fine too. I feel like there's a lot more pride in using a word that is specific to our ethnicity, our unique blend of different, different ancestry from different parts of West Africa. Obviously we all have that little bit of European sprinkled in. Some of us have a little Asian, some of us got a little Native American, not prominently, but a little bit, and I think that actually really having a term that really just is specific to us, there's so much more pride in that. And that's just my opinion. Rather than saying, oh, well, I'm just black, I'm just a black person. To me, I'm just even just going to use the term Solan or Solani. Like, I'm a Solani, I'm Solan, I'm Solani, I'm American, I'm a Solani American. My ethnicity is Solani, and that encompasses who and what we are, as opposed to just saying, oh, I'm just black. That's just what I think. I really think that just calling yourself black is just not, I just don't think it's good for our pride as an ethnic group. I just don't. And I know some people are always going to want to be married to that word because we're accustomed to it and we really truly identify with that, and we think that that's what we are. And if that's what you want to do, then it is what it is. I can't change anybody, but I'm just giving y'all my perspective, and I don't know if you agree or not. You can let me know in the comment section. But at the end of the day, it's really up to us to identify ourselves however we see fit. And it doesn't matter what the world says. Oh, the world is always going to try to define you in a way that's beneath them. People are always going to say, ridicule you and say, oh, well, you guys don't have a culture. You guys, whatever it is they say. It's always something negative, and people are always going to try to put you underneath them because they want you to feel low so they can feel high, which is pathetic, but that's what they do. So I'm just saying, it's something to think about.